for the invitation. This is extremely awkward. I'll tell you why. I thought I'm going to give a lecture in a science meeting. After Jugalbandi, a dance, and an opera, I'm going to be completely bored. Okay? So let me start with, she says I'm supposed to remind you of science. So I don't know what I was going to do. So I'll try and make this as entertaining as possible. But it's nowhere close to the last 15-20 minutes of what you had. Okay? So I want to start from where your director left. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have been told in the good old days everything is fine, the world is a bad day now, you know, everything is going to dog? I only want you to lift hands if you have not heard this from your grandmother or grandfather or your father. Right? Not a single hand went up, right? Which means all of your parents, grandparents, all the older generation believes the world was much better before, much worse now. Right? First, they're all wrong. It's not the first time, right? I put this because in 1798 there's a person called Malthus who predicted that, you know, about 1905 the population of the world will come down because we won't be able to make enough food for them. I'm sure all of you heard of the Malthusian theory, right? It didn't happen. We were supposed to stabilize around 1.5 billion people in the world. Today we are 6 billion and growing. What happened? What changed? What changed was human ingenuity. Around the time, around 1900, the Haber-Bosch process was discovered. Okay? Human ingenuity, human interest in science discovered a process that allowed us today, with 6.5 billion people in the world, to produce more food than we can consume. What do I mean by that? Last year, Canada dumped wheat that could feed all of Africa into the ocean to keep the price of wheat high. And there was no starvation deaths last year. So we are producing enormous amount of food because human ingenuity is simply outstanding. And every time you talk about this, it's amazing. Life today is much better than your parents or your grandparents. On an average, people live longer and they live better. The life expectancy when India got freedom was about 45. Today it's 70. It's all because human ingenuity has found ways to keep us fed, clothed, better in every possible sense of the way. When your parents and grandparents say this, just remember they're just jealous. I'm jealous, okay? Because the opportunities you have and what you can do today didn't exist when I was young. And I wish I were young today rather than, I won't tell you how many years ago. Okay? So, human ingenuity's primary thing has been taking us to a better place. What I want to do is to give you an example of the fun of doing science. And it is the curiosity of wanting to find new things, observing and questioning constantly that made us better. And I want to tell you one more thing. As much as people tell you listen to the elders, I will tell you you should not. And I will prove it to you scientifically. Okay? How many of you don't believe in evolution? Put your hands up. One. Good. So there is only one person who doesn't believe in biology, right? Everybody else believes in biology. Biology dictates that as you change the environment, the species evolve to make themselves fit to that particular environment, right? Now, what is the change in environment when I was young and when you were young? When you are young? You're not going to grow an extra head or a tail. That's not going to happen. What has changed between 100 years ago and today with increase in population is competition has dramatically increased. So anything you do, you want to be a professor when you are my age, you're going to have to fight with many more people to reach the same level, right? And if the pressure that is being applied on you is to be more competitive, and the way to succeed is by being smarter, Every generation on average, it means, is getting smarter than the previous generation. And if you take a generation is about 13 years old, 13 years time, and if I'm about 50 years old and you're 20, how many generations are you younger than me? Right? Several. Which means you guys are several times smarter than I am. And there are many more older people than you here, so believe me, when your teachers tell you I know better, tell them no, you're not. If I'm smarter, tell them you're not. When your parents or grandparents tell them you're not. Why? You can't disobey the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology, right? I mean, what can you do? The ball, you throw a ball up, it's going to come down. So you're smart. You can't do anything about it. So the first thing you do, when somebody tells you this is the right thing, tell them why. Why can't it be different? The world can be a better place than what it is today. As much as you should spend time learning from history, don't repeat it. Because you're better, smarter than any of us. So anything I tell you today, take it with a pinch of salt. Okay? So it is the curiosity. So I'm going to show you a movie now. Oops, no sound. Sound.